Hi there, I'm Dr. Shiroko Sokitch, owner of Heart to Heart Medical Center and the author of the book, Healing When It Seems Impossible. And today I'm going to talk to you about dehydration and summer heat. In Chinese medicine, summer heat is a very, like every season has an important time or every season has an important organ. In Chinese medicine, the important organ during the summer is the heart and the small intestine. And when there is summer heat, that is the time when there's extreme heat in the environment, and people are prone to having imbalances in their electrolytes and getting dehydrated. So one of the things that I talk about a lot is that drinking water alone is not enough for rehydrating yourself. And in fact, the plasma in our blood, so the liquid in our blood, not the red blood cell part of our blood, is made up of salt water. And it has, like when you do a blood test to measure, quote unquote, your electrolytes, you're measuring your sodium, potassium, chloride, and bicarbonate. Bicarbonate really represents how much acid and base is in your blood at the time, but also, magnesium and calcium play an important role in the stability of the fluids in your body. A lot of salt and potassium sort of permeate through the cells, into the cells and out of the cells based on volume, not based on what you need in a cell. So you have to have the right amount in your plasma at all times for you to even stay alive. If you drink too much water without getting enough potassium and sodium, then you will dilute the amount of sodium in your blood, and that's dangerous. It can cause arrhythmias, and it can cause you to faint. It can cause you to look like you got dehydrated because there's not enough sodium in your blood. So you have to always have enough salt, sodium, chloride, potassium, and magnesium in order to stabilize when it's very, very hot. So there are some foods and drinks that are naturally high in potassium and sodium that you can do. Like people talk about coconut water quite a bit. Coconut water has the electrolytes in it, so you could do that. And you do need a little bit of sugar, so the coconut water also has a little bit of sweetness, because that allows to push the sodium and potassium into the cells, and that's where you need it as much as you need it in your plasma. And then also watermelon. I just love watermelon, and so I think it's really super cool that watermelon has electrolytes. So you could do watermelon juice, or you could just eat watermelon. And if you put a little bit of salt on it, that will even be better in terms of preventing yourself from getting too dehydrated. There are other foods and liquids that you can drink. Cucumber water with some salt in it is really cooling. In Chinese medicine, different foods have different qualities that match our organs, and cucumber is cooling. So when you have extreme summer heat, then making cucumber juice or cucumber water, like putting slices of cucumber in water and then adding a little bit of salt, that will be really useful. You could do lemon water with sea salt. You could drink electrolyte bone broth, so bone broth that has enough salt in it. One thing that I found really interesting is that their tart cherry juice diluted has potassium, is anti-inflammatory, and it is great after you've done a severe workout because it gives you a little bit of sugar to help relax your muscles and gives you the potassium that will help release the dehydration. And then there are some foods that are really good for electrolytes, like avocados. Celery is really good with high in natural sodium. That's maybe why some people talk about celery juice as being really good for you. Leafy greens like beet greens or chard or spinach all have potassium, magnesium, and calcium. Bananas and dates are high in potassium. Some of the sea vegetables like nori, dulse, and kelp are high in potassium. Of course, you can add Himalayan sea salt or Himalayan salt, which is not sea salt, or Celtic sea salt that has enough electrolytes. And some citrus fruits like oranges and lemons, they have potassium in them so that you could drink a water that has some of that in it. You can also purchase, of course, electrolyte powders or electrolyte tablets. There are many, many, many varieties. And I always try to get the type of electrolytes that have maybe the least additives and the most possible benefit. And there are many, again, there are many types of electrolytes. So you kind of have to search for the ones that you like. There is a recipe for homemade electrolyte water that you could do if you want. You could use a liter of water, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, some potassium, which you can get from something called cream of tartar that you can buy in a grocery store, a quarter teaspoon of potassium, 2 tablespoons of honey or maple syrup, and the juice of 1 lemon, which has also some potassium. And that will help. That is a homemade electrolyte, which doesn't have all of the chemicals that a lot of electrolyte powders have, or a lot of electrolyte products. Like a lot of them have citric acid and various flavorings, and so they have their good qualities, and then they have, some not so good qualities. There are a couple of products that are literally made from sea water. Quicksilver makes a product called Quinton, which is literally sterilized seawater that is high in all of the things that are electrolytes that you could use in the body. And what's cool about it is that our plasma is similar to seawater. And so by drinking some of that, you could replace the things that you need to have in your plasma. There's also another company that makes an electrolyte product that's called Trace Trace Mineral Drops. And I think that's a good product, again, because it is literally made from seawater and doesn't have all of the possible additives and chemicals that might not be beneficial. So what I want to say about summer heat, or about making sure that you don't get too dehydrated, one is don't wait until you're thirsty, because that's a late sign. It's especially a problem as you get older, and with young children as well, because young children, their body surface area is about the same as their internal, and with older people, they're more prone to dehydration. So young children and older people more prone to dehydration. So you don't want to wait till you're thirsty. You don't want to drink plain water. It's not enough. In prolonged heat exposure, you want to make sure you get electrolytes. And you want to make sure you get enough sodium, because that is, again, the most important element in our blood that keeps us alive. Magnesium is always forgotten. And if you start having muscle cramps, one of the signs of dehydration is muscle cramps. You need magnesium and potassium in order to help with the muscle cramps. So don't forget that. Don't try to drink massive amounts of water all at once. And don't try to drink massive amounts of electrolytes all at once. You want to drink them in small amounts. Otherwise, what will happen is it'll get in your belly and it won't be able to process. So you want to drink it in small, like 4 ounces every 15 to 20 minutes. And that will help you prevent dehydration. And then if you get super hot and you're really, really sweaty, try to cool down, because you want to get your core temperature down before pushing too many fluids. Because if you get too hot and then you try to drink too much water or too many electrolytes, it can be unhelpful. So, and then I want to talk a little bit again about Chinese medicine and summer heat, because again, I said the heart and the small intestine are the organ of summer heat. And so especially when it's humid outside, we get this condition in Chinese medicine that's called dampness. And what happens is it's like when it's dry outside and hot, you sweat and you release the sweat. But when it's humid and hot, you can't release the heat. And so then that creates a buildup of what's called dampness in your body, and it can injure your organs. It can injure your energy pathways. And so a lot of my patients have told me of episodes that they had of dehydration where they couldn't, they were able to recover from the incident, you know, by drinking enough electrolytes and getting some rest, but then they were exhausted afterward. And that is because their meridians or their energy patterns were sort of damaged by the heat. There are, so you want to try to have acupuncture, make sure you get enough fluids, and you want to also kind of dry up a little bit. So there are foods like mung beans, cucumber, bitter melon, lotus seed, and chrysanthemum tea. Those are all foods that are traditionally used in Chinese medicine to help with the damp heat that comes from when you get extremely dehydrated after exposure like that. So I hope you found that helpful. And I'm here to help with anything. If you have questions or you want some tips on how to prevent dehydration or what to do for yourself if you do get into a situation where you might have heat exhaustion or exposure to heat that does not seem to help you, that you can't seem to recover from. So click on the link here and write a comment, and I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.